Puzzle games that make up for relatively basic gameplay with stunning visuals and/or audio may be everywhere, but Ethereal's got style and substance. This game's abstract visuals are like someone threw random cans of paint at the wall in a psychedelic cacophony of color, but somehow order rises out of chaos to give Ethereal a unique and striking presentation. And once you start figuring out how to navigate all this madness, Ethereal reveals that it has some clever little puzzles under the hood as well. As always, I'm Alex, and this is First 5, where I ask if games are worth your time, not your money. I played a game for 5 hours, and I'm going to tell you if those were 5 hours well spent. And today, we're playing with color in Ethereal. Ethereal is, at its heart, just a big ol' maze. It's a puzzle game where all of its challenges are about finding the right path to traverse your environment, which might not be particularly unique, but Ethereal's abstract visuals make it a bit more naked about that fact, and it gives you some fairly strict traversal options with which to do so. You can move freely and infinitely to the left and right until you hit a wall, which does what walls typically do and stops you. But when moving up and down, your movement options are inverted. If there's a wall above or below you, you can move through it, but you can't move vertically through open space. In the abstract, this sets up a series of horizontal lines, and moving vertically flips you between them. And the challenge is to navigate your way through these lanes from point A to point B, just like those mazes on the back of the playmats they handed you at a sit-down restaurant as a kid. Which isn't to say that Ethereal is simple. On the contrary, it's got a surprising amount of substance to it. In addition to your traversal restrictions, the game starts introducing different interactable objects that quickly become the cornerstones of each puzzle, such as this circle you can touch to turn the entire world 90 degrees. And then once it introduces its basic mechanics, it takes the next obvious step and starts mixing and matching them. That world-rotating ability might get featured alongside one that lets you move blocks in a designated area or get repurposed so that when you rotate the world, specific blocks rotate with you. Ethereal falls into 2 modes. Its level select screens are navigational challenges in and of themselves that task you with parsing the route from one level to the next, and the levels themselves are tighter challenges that make you collect these little colored bits. They always come in pairs, and you can only ever carry one bit at a time, so you need to find a way to bring one to the other without touching any bits of a different color. And when all of this comes together, it works really well. Outside of a few errant puzzles that really stumped me, Ethereal does a good job of slowly ramping up its complexity, in no small part because it's excellent at wordlessly explaining how it functions to the player and slowly trickling in new concepts and mechanics up until the last few minutes. And there's a great deal of variety there as well. Sometimes a level is all about manipulating one block across an entire puzzle, while other times it's about untangling the right order you need to match the colored bits in as they all get in the way of each other. But solid as it is, Ethereal's true strength doesn't lie in its gameplay. Instead, it's all about aesthetics. Yeah. Get you some aesthetics. So I don't usually talk about a game's visuals because, well, you've probably got eyeballs, but this game starts out as a sensory overload. They chuck the entire color wheel at the wall, and it's chaotic and difficult to parse at first, but still striking and beautiful in its own way, and certainly unique. And then as you pick up different puzzle pieces, the entire map shifts to a monochromatic art style. For example, pick up a red bit, and the entire map is painted in myriad hues of red. On the sound design side as well, Ethereal mostly succeeds. The game barely has any music to speak of, instead going the route of making the player's inputs the music. Like with most games that try this, it mostly works. I wouldn't call most of my noodling around in Ethereal music, but the cacophony of little bleeps and dings are easy on the ears all the same, and they make moving around Ethereal enjoyable. Which brings me to my final observation, and that's that Ethereal is just a very tactilely satisfying game to play. Game feel is a bit of a nebulous thing to talk about, but Ethereal is just a snappy and enjoyable game to move around in, which is kinda rare for a puzzle game, honestly. Even if there wasn't a breadcrumb trail of objectives to pursue, it would still be fun to sit back and just zip around Ethereal's little labyrinths for a while. And that all gets reinforced by the game's visuals and audio, giving you constant feedback for every action you take. But with that observation, it's time to ask, what do you get out of 5 hours with Ethereal? That will probably be enough time for you to make it through all 24 of Ethereal's levels, which are definitely engaging to go through. The game takes a simple concept and slowly but steadily adds on layers of complexity until by the end you're working through some genuinely challenging puzzles, and each step of that journey is well-paced and entertaining. I wouldn't call anything Ethereal does revolutionary, but it is all very solidly done from start to finish. This is another one of those Zen games you can sit down and play around with when you just want to veg out for an hour. It occupies that lizard part of your brain with some deeply satisfying game feel and overwhelms the rest with a cornucopia of ever-changing sights and sounds. If that sounds cool to you, then it's definitely worth checking out. And if ultra-stylish puzzle games are your jam, you can check out what I had to say about Gris in my latest quarterly wrap-up, or you could check out my review of Obra Dinn, both of which are excellent and promise more ultra-striking visuals. Either way, I hope you enjoyed this first 5 review. If you did, maybe consider hitting that subscribe button. If you're looking for games that value your time and don't pad themselves, I'm your guy. Thanks for watching this far, and I'll see you all next week.